Howdy, everybody, and welcome to the TexAgs High School Football Show, presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Academy has all your high school football road trip needs this season. Get the right gear for the long season with free curbside pickup today at Academy Sports and Outdoors. All right, everybody, welcome back to the TexAgs High School Football Show, presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. I'm Ryan Brauninger. He's Jason Howell. Don't forget, you can enter your chance to win $10,000 Academy gift card and SEC championship game tickets just by signing into the Academy app. The Ultimate SEC Football Sweepstakes runs from October 8th to November 8th. No purchase necessary. Odds depend on when the entry is received. Again, that ends on November 18th. You can find the complete set of rules at academy.com/official-rules. Jason, we typically talk about Texas high school football, but you don't have any Texas high school football to talk about, at least last week from where you were. Little trip through the Magnolia State. How was it in Mississippi?
Man, it was fantastic. I couldn't ask for a much better trip. Landed in New Orleans, and it was a little overcast, a little drizzly. Had some rain the first day, but really, for the most part, didn't have to battle the weather. Got to see two great games. Tupelo on Thursday night with a big 42-3 win over Germantown. Got to see Tristan Jernigan, Texas A&M linebacker commit. He was excited to be back. This was, I think, his third game back. 7 tackles, had a big interception with a 60-yard return. Really, he was just all over the field making plays. You had some really talented underclassmen also turning some heads. Coach Harden out there pointed out a few guys before the game and said, "Hey, you're going to want to keep an eye on these guys." One, J.J. Hill, he's 5'10", 220 pound, 2026 running back, averaged 18 yards per carry. Had a big TD run, just a bruiser with some speed, and his uncle is actually a pretty highly recruited running back himself, Daniel Hill. And then they got a 6'4", 175 pound, 180 pound cornerback in that 25 class, Mason Dunn, who has just been locking folks down and had an interception in the game on Thursday, but Tupelo got out early and stayed on top and really just cruised to an easy win. Tristan lived up to the billing for sure. And then on Friday, it was back down to Hattiesburg. Get to see AJ Maddox and his brother Drew do some work for Oak Grove. But man, this was a rivalry game, and Brandon is a physical team, and they jumped out to a 17-0 lead and were able to pull away for a 38-20 win with a late touchdown to really seal things in the fourth quarter. But to say how big this game was, I'm pretty sure the governor of Mississippi was doing the coin toss. So, it was fun to get out and see some different players and some new venues and meet some coaches that we've been talking to on the phone. AJ, it was a rough night. He did throw a couple touchdown passes.
He'd been playing at an all-state level. He has been sensationally good this year.
Well, and talking, I made my rounds, and then talking to other coaches around the state, he's definitely got everyone's attention. You don't play in that Alabama-Mississippi All-Star game without being one of the best quarterbacks in the state, and he's one of 2 on that roster. So that tells you exactly where people think he is. It was a tough night for him, but he did, have some bright spots. He had the pick 6 before the half that kind of put them back in a hole after what looked like they had gained some momentum. But I bet we see those 2 teams play each other again. They played twice last year, split. Oak Grove got the regular season game, and Brandon took the playoff win. So I think Oak Grove would probably like to flip-flop that this year, maybe see things go a little bit stronger in the postseason. But great games all the way around.
Yeah. On Thursday, I got to go down to Katy, see Katy Jordan, a team we've talked a lot about on this show. Having a great year. Only one loss there for Coach Robbie. and the Warriors. Got to see Andrew Marsh play. And what's funny is Katie Jordan, they rolled to an easy, comfortable win over Seven Lakes. And they were without Chad Gasper. They were without Zach Sample. They were out without Jimmy Alo Suliafu. They were without Van Brown. So, like, they had guys on the sideline, a group of guys on the sideline that a lot of schools in Greater Houston would love to have on the field, and they still were able to run away with an easy victory. And a lot of that had to do Andrew Marsh had a good night. I think he had 5 catches, all of which resulted in first downs or touchdowns. But a really good night from 2026 kind of athlete, do-it-all man, Tanner West, who had a guy on the sideline say he's the Katy Christian McCaffrey, the Katy area Christian McCaffrey.
Okay.
Line him up at receiver. They line him up at H-back. They line him up at running back. And really, in Chad Gasper's absence, he's been a touchdown-producing machine. So just a name to kind of jot down and keep an eye on to see what he grows into. 2 older brothers that play baseball at Rice. So athletic family, and he's getting a ton of touches right now for Katie Jordan and producing at a really high level. But they run away with it and are 1 week away now from securing their first playoff spot as a school. They can do that with a win this coming week. And then on Friday night, I traveled all the way down to Galveston County to Hitchcock, Texas, to see a top 5 3A Division I matchup between Hitchcock and the visiting Columbus Cardinals. And man, this was as advertised, at least for a half. And it was 2 contrasting styles, Hitchcock full of athletes, Lloyd Jones at quarterback, Damian McDaniel, Kelshawn Johnson, Bryce Dorsey. All these guys are Division I players. Some McDaniel's committed. The rest of the guys have Division I, some of them Power 5 offers. And Columbus was kind of the opposite. They're big. They want to be physical and run the ball downhill at you. And they've got a great quarterback in Adam Schobel and a really productive running back in Tyvon Whitehead. John Schobel is a 2025 kind of linebacker defensive end that also plays tight end, but just physicality. That's the way I would describe Columbus. Tough kids, and they want to get it there and rough it up. And at halftime, it was interesting. It's 24-24 at halftime, and like living up to the billing, right? Back and forth. Hitchcock's kicker got hurt, so they were having to go for 2 every time, and they made all their 2-point conversions in the first half, so they scored 3 times. Made all 3 of their 2-point conversions. So they scored 24 points. Columbus had to kick a field goal to get there, but 24 all at halftime. And in the second half, Jason, Columbus outscores Hitchcock 28-0 in the second half to win 52-24. And I will say, I mentioned that physical style that Columbus wants to play with. It kind of beat up Hitchcock a little bit. Damian McDaniel went out with a knee injury. Kelshawn Johnson went out with an ankle injury. They had guys cramping. It was just, there's a lot of stoppages in play for guys laying on the field. And on both sides, it was a really humid, muggy night down there in Galveston County. So a lot of kids dealing with cramps and stuff. But Tyvon Whitehead, the Columbus running back, just took over the game, got nominated for Mr. Texas Football this week. 25 carries, 313 yards, and 5 touchdowns on the night in a top 5 showdown. That is a huge, huge performance. And it was, I think the score was at the time 31-24, I think. And Hitchcock is going in to try to tie the game. They can't convert on a 4th down from inside the 5-yard line. And on the first play, Tyvon Whitehead goes 96 yards to that was the end of the game. That just put the stamp on it. And then a couple of late turnovers. Hitchcock got a little sloppy. It extended the score, but it was much closer than the scoreline indicated. And those are 2 teams that are now looking at each other and going, okay, when do we get to see each other again? Because that 3A Division I Region 3 is loaded, and Franklin's in there, Lorena's in there. It's a really talented group of teams. And so it'll be interesting to see how all that one works out. But what a huge win for Coach Schobel and the Columbus Cardinals. That was a big-time statement across the state in the small school divisions.
Yeah, no doubt about that, man. Any other big scores or results stand out to you?
We're barreling toward a North Shore Atascocita game next week. But Atascocita's got a big test coming up, and I'll speak more about that when we talk about our schedules this week. But nothing really jumping off the page for me right now. It's like holding status quo in Houston. Now I will say, like, there are some Houston Lamar continues to roll. We haven't talked about Willis. They're undefeated and scoring 60, 70 points a week. DJ
Lagway some.
Yeah. Now, I will say that their schedule's not been the toughest, but they are just blowing the doors off of people. And he has been really efficient in doing that. So Willis is an interesting story. What happens with them come playoff time? Houston Lamar, I mentioned, is another one. Like some of these teams that they get tested in non-district and they get in the district and they kind of roll through it. You always wonder what's going to happen come playoff time with those schools like that. So, and we're getting to the nitty-gritty. I think a lot of these district matchups, these district races are going to start being decided. If not
Mm.
this week, then for sure next week, and we'll start setting up playoff rounds. And man, it feels like just yesterday we kicked the season off, but here we are talking about the playoffs already. But what you like in Dallas this last weekend?
Well, the Allen McKinney score really caught my attention. I picked McKinney in this game, but Allen came out and put it on him 31-7, and really made a statement in that win. Allen's always a great program. McKinney has been on the come up, and but this earlier this year, Allen definitely had some growing pains as they
Mm-hmm.
have a new coach, new quarterback, new everything. And I thought they might end up finding their footing and making a run, and they're looking pretty dangerous. That's a strong McKinney team that they beat, and that's a team that people kind of faded early and is coming on strong right now. So keep an eye on the Allen Eagles. And Argyle's another one that people is a team that came into the season really hot and as one of the favorites, and they dropped two to Melissa and Lucas Lovejoy early. Well, they go into to a battle with Frisco Emerson, an undefeated team, and they put a 41-34 win on them. So, they're finding their stride as well,
Yep.
which is no surprise. But again, you're seeing these teams that, people liked early that struggled a bit with some tough non-conference scheduling, and they're starting to find their way a bit. And once they get that momentum, it could be dangerous in the playoffs.
I don't have another score line that really stood out, but I have a play that stood out. Did you see the play that DJ Sanders made against Sealy? I tweeted it.
No, I did. I think I saw your tweet, but I
Yeah.
didn't get a chance to really watch it. Yeah.
So he chases down a screen pass,
Oh yeah.
takes the ball away from the kid, and then I've never seen a 300-pound. Like he's gliding down the sideline at 300 pounds for the return for a touchdown. Just Belleville continues to roll people. They're going to be a problem there in 4A Division II. And DJ Sanders, man, he is as advertised, and he's playing that way there in his junior season. All right, where you at this week?
Well, it's looking like I'm gonna be out of state again. I'm looking at this Shreveport Evangel Christian Minden game. Gonna try and get out to see Gabriel Relaford. We'll see how he's holding up and getting after quarterbacks and wrecking offenses out there. That's the plan, anyways.
Okay, well, Thursday, I'm kind of sandwiching some, both of my realms of coverage here. But Thursday, I'm going to go down and see Houston Heights against Houston Westbury at Del Mar Stadium, my first HISD game this year. I'm in Houston all the time, but very rarely. It's kind of like with you in Dallas. You're in Dallas, but very rarely are you in DISD. I'm looking forward to getting down there and seeing Coach Dixon and Houston Heights take on Houston Westbury. And then Friday night, Texas A&M baseball plays at University of Houston in an exhibition game, so I'll be covering that. And Saturday, I mentioned Atascocita. I'm going down to see them play CE King, another really talented group. And it's an interesting time because they're going to be on a show. That means Atascocita going into that North Shore game next week is going to be on a short rest.
Yeah.
Because I believe, yes, North Shore plays on Thursday this week, and that game is on next Friday, and Atascocita plays on Saturday this week. So North Shore is going to have a day and a half just about of more rest and recovery and scouting than Atascocita. So that game is going to be an absolute madhouse in terms of media coverage and everything like that. So is Atascocita going to be in a look ahead spot against a really talented CE King team on Saturday? So that's why I'm going, is to kind of see how they handle that. But Coach Stump, he's a veteran, and Atascocita is super talented.
No doubt about it. Any other big games catch your eye? I've got a few circled on.
Yeah, go ahead.
China Spring at
Stephenville.
Stephenville.
That's a neutral site game, right? Or is it at Stephenville?
I think it's at Stephenville. That's what I'm looking at. I may be wrong. But definitely a big big game between two highly regarded programs.
State championship contenders, both. Yep.
You got Denton Ryan at Aledo. That's going to be Ryan kind of stumbled a bit, at times this year, but that's always Aledo's not, and this will probably be Aledo's best competition before the playoffs. And then I got another big one, Midlothian, traveling to Lake Belton. And you got two pretty talented receivers there, and Bryant Wesco and Micah Hudson that are going to go toe to toe, see who's best.
Those are some very interesting bus trips in that district. Red Oak and Midlothian all the way down to Lake Belton. Those are some rough bus trips.
That Killeen, South Dallas kind of situation's always fun. So, and then you got Geyer at Allen. So it should there's plenty of others out there around, but those are a few that really caught my eyes.
I do want to say Magnolia traveling to Manville on Friday night, I think is a really interesting game. Magnolia kind of sleepily cruising along here in a tough district and winning a bunch of games. They've lost to Fulshire, and that's it. So we'll see how that one works out. But I think Magnolia got a chance to make some noise in the playoff. I mentioned Hunter Andrews last week. Good player, really good player. Name to keep an eye on there for Coach Martin and the Bulldogs. So, all right, Jason, you got anything else? Are we done?
I think, I did want to throw out McKinney North is making a big run. And just coming off a win, I think over Lancaster or over Lufkin, and they got Longview this weekend at home. So that's a battle for district right there. And nobody would have picked. I don't think I would have picked McKinney North at the top of that district to start the season. So that's a nice little matchup there to keep an eye on as well.
Another small school in here locally around College Station, Lorena traveling to Franklin. And a battle of top 10 teams there in 3A Division I. Excuse me. All right. For Jason Howell, I'm Ryan Brauninger. Thank you guys for tuning in to the TexAgs High School Football Show.